Showtime.
It's about that time.
Let's go.
You're right where you need to be. This is GCOM Radio.
Hardest radio station on the planet. Yeah.
Powered by Lyfeblood.com.
We certified.
And hosted by Nova Phoenix.
Give them that flavor.
All right. Man, that's the best thing I could do to open up this show, man. I reflect. See, look, man, I listen. I'm listening to too much Breakfast Club because every time I open the show, there's one thing that I want to do. I want to throw out those yo-yo-yos. You know, that's how things could be so when you hear something over and over and over again. And it's psychological, man. It's mental. Anyway, all right. What is the deal, yo? What is the deal? This is Nova Phoenix on GCOM Radio on iHeartRadio, and we are here for the 2-year anniversary of GCOM Radio. Now, I gotta tell you, I don't have nothing special planned. I have nothing special planned, so don't expect any wild, crazy confetti and super fantabulous guests and all that. I just didn't have anything in play. I'm sorry, y'all. So this is just gonna be another show, but it is the 2-year anniversary. The 2-year anniversary is in a day, and it's on the 30th. And it's tomorrow. Yeah, that's exactly tomorrow. And that's what's up, man. I'm here 2 years. I feel good. 2 years in the running. It's been beautiful. I wish it could have been more eventful. But, you know, even if I did plan something, it wouldn't have been a big plan because COVID-19. So you couldn't do anything anyway. But I could have had worked hard. But I didn't really work. To be real, I'm going to be 100. And the one thing that you will always get from me is always being 100. And I really didn't go hard on trying to do or look for do something special for the 2nd year anniversary. I didn't. I did think of some things, but then I was like, whatever. I was really focused on my 100th episode. That's why this thing snuck up on me so quickly. I was like, yo, wait a second, it's 2 years. I was actually doing something else with the podcast that I'm planning to do. Hopefully I'm crossing my fingers something could happen of this little thing that I did. But that's like, oh snap, wait a second, this is the 2-year anniversary because this started like 2 years ago, July 30th. Yeah, man. So this is gonna be another show. Got some artists on it and a couple topics that I always speak of. So what is going on for our opening mentions? I got my glass of water. I got my where's my phone? I don't even know. Hold on a second. Okay, I got my phone. I haven't even been posting a lot lately, man. I haven't been posting. Sometimes I'm on it like this, and other times, this recently, I've just been on this like, whatever, no big deal. And then this one person that I'm actually have notifications on their IG profile, and sometimes I feel bad because I'm getting dinged like 5 times a day from these folks. I'm like, damn, y'all on it. But yeah, I haven't really been. Usually I'll post like 2 or 3 times a day and more so on the weekend, but just like in the last week or 2, I just haven't been really, hitting on all cylinders. But I'm going to work on it this coming because for the 200th show, not 200th show, the 2nd year anniversary, I'll go into, trying to hit on this IG a little bit more. So open the mentions, alien spaceships. So New York Times and some other online newspapers or whatever you want to publications. So the government finally said that they're releasing information that they found. They didn't even call it UFOs. They said otherworldly vehicles, I think, whatever it is. They found them and they released video footage of this supposed tic-tac thing and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, well, and everybody's on it. Charlamagne's on it, Joe Rogan's on it. And everybody, they're like, oh my God, alien UFOs. And like I said, folks, I'm sorry. I'm just not enthused. I'm really not enthused because I'm like, with all this, as I said before, all this camera technology and equipment and the things that we can do, we still can't get a solid, crystal clear video of these stupid spacecrafts. So they released this video of some, dude in a jet. I forgot what jet it was, and you see him on the radar, and you just see this white thing, streaking across the ocean, the surface of the ocean surface, whatever. And I'm like, he's trying to box it, he's trying to target it, and they use this, flight, pilot vernacular or jargon or whatever you want to call it. That they boxed it. I guess they targeted it right, and they were, yipping and everything like that. And I'm like, okay, well, all right. So, and it's like moving fast across the ocean surface. And I don't know, I'm not a pilot, so I can't gauge really how fast that thing is really going, based on the radar that was dialed into this thing. So I really don't know. And they show this other image of the thing. It looked like it was just floating in the air, and it goes from horizontal to vertical. And they were like, oh my God, look at that thing rotate. And all I see, it just looks like a white blotch on this radar screen. I'm like, this is corny. What? Oh my God. So I'm not really into all this UFO business. I want a solid, crystal clear image of angles and structure of that thing floating over, I don't know, the U.S. monument, whatever U.S. monument, or Russian landmark, something. But right now, I'm like, whatever. Now, yeah, I do believe in aliens. They're somewhere out there. Have they visited? Possibly. It's possible. But really, I'm just skeptical of everything. I'm just like, whatever. I was a diehard person years ago. Now it's like, whatever. We got enough problems on this planet. So that second thing is going on. I see that I went to a drive-through. I think that's a beautiful thing. It's revisiting one of the old activities that they used to do back in the day, back in the 1950s, drive-in theaters. And I went to a drive-in theater upstate. I don't think I mentioned that, but it was what's up. I took one picture of the screen. I didn't really share it on social media, but I thought that was cool. It's great. You could do social distancing and look at movies. And most of the movies anyway, I forgot the name of the theater, but it was dope. It was out in the field. Grass, people were parked up, and there were 3 screens there, and each one of them was showing old movies, of course family movies, and it was cool. So me looking, going online, checking out different news stories, I noticed that now they have a drive-in movie theater in Newark. It's called Newark Moonlight Cinema by Ayanna Stafford Morris and her husband Siri Morris. And it was about, the place that I went to up north was 1,100 acres of land. This one is 700 acres or something like that. Hopefully I'm getting it right. And they got a screen down there, and it's black owned. So that's what's up in Newark. So I'm going to check that out, because this is a lot better than going an hour and a half up north going to a drive-in theater. So I'll check it out. For folks out there living in New York, man, check it out. Newark Moonlight Cinema. Next thing is Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. They signed up a contract to do a fight in September. It's going to be an exhibition fight with performances beforehand. You're going to have these 2 old bulls get in the ring, and hopefully they play around a little bit. I don't want to see a real fight. I think it's fun, all in good fun. These guys are 2 legends. They are going to mix it up, and it's all in good humor. But I don't want to see no serious fight. These old fogies, they're going to get tired in the first 10 minutes. I don't want to see it, but it's going to be cool. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely tuning. I don't care. I'm definitely tuning in. And I don't know if it's going to be free or they're going to make it for, even if they make it for like $20 for it, I'll pay for it. Yeah, I think that would be fun. These guys are just messing around and, revisiting the ring, and they haven't been in so long. Next thing is Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion. What the hell? Since I was off, it's like every time I take a little break, something is going on. So Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion, what the hell happened here? What the hell was going on? It was something, they were at some Kylie Jenner party, I think it was, and supposedly Tory Lanez is giving a lot of energy to Kylie or reverse or something or other. Meg Thee Stallion wasn't going for it. They got to the car. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning at this time. Something happened. Shots go off and Megan Thee Stallion gets shot in the foot a couple times. I'm like, what the hell? They charged Tory. Yo, man. I swear this is so trash. So even people were talking smack, and Meg Thee Stallion replied, I think on Twitter or something like that, saying that she's gonna, it's not fair how they treat her and black women, blah, 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 something like not treated right. I'm like, wait, whoa, you can't use that now, because a lot of brothers are stepping up, especially now. So don't use, come on, give me a break. So who knows what took place over there? I'm interested. Everybody's tight-lipped so far because Meg said she was going to come forward with some information, and I still haven't heard anything. So that'll be interesting to know what happened. What? Oh, man. And oh, man. Tory, and whatever that happened still doesn't excuse the fact if Tory did shoot her in the foot. Like, bruh, what are you doing? What are you doing? Dude, you from Canada. This ain't Compton. This is not Compton, bro. This not disrespecting Compton or Canada, but my wife is from Canada. I go up to Canada. She shows me the hood. I'm like, this is the hood. I've seen worse hoods. In shit, we don't even, New York don't even have hoods like that. You go down south or going to any place that you want to see some depressed neighborhoods. Yo, I'm telling you. And no disrespect to Canada. I'm not saying they don't got real ones, even though that's even stupid in that sense. The thing like, oh, yo, I'm a real G. What, you're a real G to kill somebody? The older is like, I'm just saying, looking at, what people consider hoods and whatever. But even in Compton, you look at Compton, it's like, Compton is a hood? Like, really? No, excuse me. Let me back up. Excuse me. Compton is the hood. I meant to say more like, and why I say it like that was because you look at like videos or go online and you look for like Compton, California. And I say it like that because it's a suburb. Compton is a suburb. There's houses and grass and front lawns and all that. But Compton is what like Boys in the Hood, the movie everybody knows about, with Ice Cube and everybody. And you like, yeah, and Compton got gangs, Bloods and Crips, and that's what's up. So I understand the gang culture in Compton. But I'm like, wait a second. This is a suburb that ain't got no money. So to me, hoods are not hoods because of the place. Hoods are hoods because of the mentality. Of course, let's step back a second. The root cause, of course, is economics. Economically depress and drain a specific neighborhood of any opportunities and money. Of course, you're going to get the slums, the hood, or poor neighborhoods, however you want to call it. But I'm like, wow. And I see it from a New York perspective. I'm like, man, if you have an influx of white folks coming into Compton, they're gonna spruce up the front lawn, making it green grass. They're gonna put new paint on these homes. They're gonna fix up the homes from the inside. They're gonna do all this with all the access that they got. And next thing you know, everybody knows what Compton is as far as the hood. It's gonna be like some upcoming swinging neighborhood. Like, what? It's just crazy. Because I see it from the other perspective. Okay, hood, and then you flip it to another lens and you see a thriving neighborhood if it's giving the proper opportunity. So that's crazy. Next, Regis Philbin and Peter Green, co-founder of Fleetwood Mac, died. That's crazy. Regis Philbin, I say that because I've been watching Regis Philbin since the 80s. And when I found out, excuse me, I had to take a drink of water. And when I found out that he died, I'm like, I wasn't like really struck hard because he's 88. He lived a long life. He did everything that he wanted to do, retired, and was chilling wherever he retired, in Florida, something like that. So, of course, I haven't heard from Regis Philbin in a while. And of course, I knew he was chilling, man. Even now, of course, when he died, he probably was having health issues way before. And only people that knew that were, of course, the close friends and family. Like, okay, Pop or grandfather, or my old friend from when we used to work 40 years ago, he's not feeling well. It's going to be any week now, any day. And, he passed. So, R.I.P., Godspeed to Regis Philbin. You did the thing, man. You did what you had to do. You lived your life and you enjoyed it. And also Peter Green, also to mention, it happened on the same time. Co-founder of Fleetwood Mac, he died as well on the same day. And lastly, before we go into the show, we go on this Joe Rogan, Ben Shapiro thing. So a reason why I'm bringing up Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro, let me tell you. So I saw this recent interview. To me, it was the most low base, shallow, ignorant, most casually racist episode of Joe Rogan I've ever seen. And I watched Joe Rogan for the many different guests that he has on the show, the different topics, and I feel that he can be an intelligent individual. He can be an intelligent man. He talks about a lot of subject matter that I do agree with in a lot of different ways. But I think sometimes that I've noticed a pattern with Joe Rogan. He kind of goes with the viewpoints of the guests that he has on the show. One whatever, if the guest is a left-wing guy and he's left-wing, and then you'll have a right-wing guy on the show, all of a sudden he's right-wing, and I'm like, and he just goes along with the talking points of his guests, and he does put his own arguments, like he disagrees, like, I don't really, but with this stupid show that he had with Ben Shapiro, man, and I know Ben Shapiro, and a dude, I've listened to a couple of, I haven't even listened to a whole show of Ben Shapiro, is the Ben Shapiro show, whatever the show is called. I've heard some clips, and based on the clips that I've heard, I'm like, this dude is a fool. This dude is an idiot. I don't need to listen to a whole show of Ben Shapiro to know his mental state or what viewpoint he's coming from. Sorry, excuse me. He has a lack of understanding of race and history in America. And partly what makes you racist is your lack of understanding of history. You don't know American history in the proper way. From the transatlantic slave trade to the Emancipation Proclamation, to the slave codes, to Jim Crow law, to what happened to black folks in the 50s and 60s, to understanding Rosewood and how black people have progressed, but if it has always been set back by systemic racism. He clearly says from listening to him on Joe Rogan's show, he has no idea what he's talking about. No idea what the hell he's talking about. And he says that the reason why black people are the way, just to break it down in the most simplistic way, the reason why black people are in the condition that they are in now is because of personal choice and not racism. It has nothing to do with racism. Yeah, you have these one-offs, these isolated cases of racism. So he's not totally disregarding racism, but still 95% of why black people are in the position they're in is because of bad personal choice, because they don't know the difference between a good life, a productive life, and being a drug dealer or a gun runner or gun violence. And I'm like, listen, it's the most casually racist. And how can we not? I don't understand how things could have went so crazy with Nick Cannon. So much attention got paid attention to him. And I disagree with some of the things that he said. Some things I agree with. I'm like, let's not go into flights of fancy. If you heard the little piece, it was 45 minutes long, on Nick Cannon and the problems of ghettonetics. I also disagree with some of the words that even from the black community that could come from the woke folk, from the woke community, how things can run away from itself if you do not try to be impartial and objective with the information that you're receiving and you want to put out there to the public, to your audience. You got to be very careful. So I'm willing to check some of the misinformation even comes from my community. Yo, Joe Rogan got to check this fool. Or somebody, he should have someone coming from the opposite end of that argument right next to Ben Shapiro to whittle this dude down, because he was talking craziness. How is people not going to put Joe Rogan on Front Street? is the most casual. I'm tired of casual racism. I'm tired of polite racism. It's just not the overt and the violent racism the black people got to deal with in this country. It's also the viewpoints that people agree with that is based on nothing, that they will drink. They're talking by the water cooler on, and they have control over the lives of whole black populations, whether it's in politics, whether it's in health, whether it's in job, in trying to get a job. The casual racism can be just as dangerous as violent racism. How can people not check Joe Rogan like, Joe, you ain't checked this dude on what he was saying? With all the data's out there, all the information, and this guy, Ben Shapiro, kept saying, oh yeah, this empirical data really doesn't have any information. He says it's empirical data to whatever he was talking about, the nonsense, the vomit that he was spewing, but yet that's all he says to back up whatever stupidness he was talking about. I'm like, what? So this guy is not going to get, and he says, oh, this guy says, and that guy says, and so he's trying to be impartial, but he always defaults back to the stupid racist rhetoric that we all know that's been happening for decades. That's been happening in politics and Congress. I'm like, what? Really, Joe? Yo. Yeah, so it just goes to show that I only go so far with Joe Rogan. Certain things he talk about make sense, that he has people, he has very enlightened people on the show, but then he also shows light on the obvious racist, and for him, not just that to bring him onto the show, that's fine if you want to bring him onto the show, you do whatever you want, but just to kind of chummy elbow nudge him, and in a way that he's agreeing what he's saying, it's like, yo, you just perpetuating nonsense. This is totally fucking wrong. Anyway, that's my thought on that. All right, so we're gonna get into this music, and what is it gonna be? It's we're gonna go with Platnume. This brother's coming out of Queens, New York. I'm pretty much sure. And his song's called Cool, and the next song will be Nellion with his song Wavy, Antisocial, off his Antisocial Asshole album. So let's listen to these two brothers, and we'll continue on with the show. All right.
Ooh, a GCOM exclusive.
I'm trying to keep it cool. Yeah. I wanna live life today, tonight, and every day. When the sun's shining rise, sunshade on me down. I wanna keep it cool. I'm trying to keep my head up. Too many people fed up now. Yeah, it's too much pressure. Yeah. They got too much pressure now. We gon' find our way. We gon' wake up, need to change up to be greater. Worry about the type of time in. Never too lost, we found it. We rise, we fall, we hurt, but we stronger. Nothing can break us down. Thought we was gon' look now. Yeah. Switch lanes, it's no thing, yeah, we fighting that flu game, it's too strange, we aflame. I'm trying to keep it cool, yeah. I wanna live life today, tonight, and every day. When the sun's shining rise, sunshade on me down. I wanna keep it cool. Nothing can stop, y'all. Nothing can stop us, no, no. Wanna stretch, but we gotta wait. Hustle for that dollar way. Family keep it tight always. Band, by the way. Wanna go outside today. Can't hide away. Long day, long nights, working, trying to find a way. Don't worry, don't cry. I'm trying to keep it cool. Yeah. I wanna live life today, tonight, and every day. When the sun's shining rise, sunshade Sunshine will rise all day. Wash all the pain away. We gonna find our way. Hurt, no, we need lumen. Sunshine will rise all day. Wash all the pain away.
You know what you're rocking to?
Rocking with the best.
Only the best. GCOM Radio.
Yeah, I know. That was a drop before the drop. Niggas thought I was done. That was just the warm up.
Well, boys, we hit the jackpot this time.
I can promise I'm crazy. Smoke the weed got me lazy. Now my eyes looking hazy. Can't see niggas fugazi. I can promise I'm crazy. Smoke the weed got me lazy. Now my eyes looking hazy. Can't see niggas fugazi. And I'm too wavy. Baby, please don't play me. And I'm too wavy. Baby, please don't play me. Yeah. I'm on a whole nother level, been talking to God, I can't talk to the devil. I can't. Bro popping niggas like kettle, I put that on God, go get him a shovel. I promise. I swear I grew up a rebel, I gotta go get it, cause I never settle. I'm with it. I gotta give me a medal, I'm loving the shit, my foot on the pedal. Yeah. Baby girl, be gentle, we'll be all up on your mental, I wish they life could be more simple, was fucking shorty up in temple, was 17 with a pistol, I was trying to fuck on crystal, I swear her body like a symbol, she sucked the balls and made me tickle, Brody shawty now he cripple, I swear that nigga got a triple, he about to pop your pimple, when that's a nigga do the swindle, I like shorty in her dimples, I saw shorty beneficial, she gon' get my initials, cause a nigga really official. I can promise I'm crazy. Smoke the weed got me lazy. Now my eyes looking hazy. Can't see niggas fugazi. I can promise I'm crazy. Smoke the weed got me lazy. Now my eyes looking hazy. Can't see niggas fugazi. And I'm too wavy. Baby, please don't play me. And I'm too wavy. Baby, please don't play me. I can play with the pussy, yes I can. Beat that shit like Missouri, like a slave. I can do it securely, I was trying to fuck Shirley, yes I was. Some niggas call me the bully, I'm the champ, I'm not a rookie. That's facts. I was grabbing on the goodies, then I had to eat the cookie. Thought I told you don't be pushy. No, I can't eat it if it's bushy. Hell no. That's my slime just like Boogie. Slay. I was fucking with this cutie. I thought her name was Ruby. But her name was really Lucy. I be high, I be woozy. I hit the shoulder like I'm Uzi. While I'm in your skies, baby, please make me nut. You know what's up? Yeah, my thumb in your butt. I can promise I'm crazy. Smoke the weed got me lazy. Now my eyes looking hazy. Can't see niggas fugazi. I can promise I'm crazy. Smoke the weed got me lazy. Now my eyes looking hazy. Can't see niggas fugazi. And I'm too wavy. Baby, please don't play me. And I'm too wavy. Baby, please don't play me.
Well, boys, we hit the jackpot this time.
Okay, that was Platnume with Cool. That brother I got introduced to by Marquise Blakes. I forgot his IG handle, folks. Sorry. Marquise Blakes, I knew this brother for a long time from a job I used to work at back in the day. And he's also a producer, and he works with this cat named Platnume. So that was a hot joint. And right up behind this dude, Nellion, whatever you want to say, a song called Wavy off his Antisocial Asshole album. I really like this dude. He reminds me of Earl Sweatshirt, kind of like, in that vein. With he's got that real eclectic vibe, and I would like to hear more from that dude. So if you want to check out that brother's album, Nellion, go to any iTunes, any music streaming site. plug this brother in, Nellian, with the song Wavy. All right, so we're going to get into the first segment of the show. So we're going to talk a little bit about John Lewis. So in respect to John Lewis, my brother passed away along with C.T. Vivian. These brothers both were in their younger years a part of the civil rights movement, and they did a lot standing next to and working with Martin Luther King back in the 60s. So shout out to John Lewis, man. The brother passed away last Sunday. They actually carried his casket, his body, through the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama, where he was also beaten when they did the walk with other people in the civil rights movement, in the movement at the time, when it was marching for racial justice. And as everyone knows, it was called Bloody Sunday, and that later on, along with many other events that were happening, activities that were happening back in the 60s, we got the Voting Rights Act of 1965 passed. So this brother, he was in it. He was in the mix for a long time, as I said before, and also that his body is laid to rest at the Alabama State Capitol in Montgomery. So right after that famous Bloody Sunday, this brother he held many leadership seats in nonprofit organizations. He attempted to run for Congress, but couldn't make the numbers. But later became the associate director of action under the Carter administration. He won the Atlanta City Council in 1981. Then won again for the House of Rep 5th District, and he won against Julian Bond. Now, I was watching a documentary, not even documentary, a YouTube piece, and I forgot the sister name, but she had Dr. Carr on there, and this is one of the brothers, scholarly brothers. And let me see if I can remember, because it's worthy to listen to. Let me see if I could go to YouTube on Dr. Carr. The Karen Hunter Show. Yeah, so Dr. Carr was on the Karen Hunter Show. You could go to YouTube. And he was actually talking about the life of John Lewis and C.T. Vivian, and a lot of information. That's why I respect my elders, because there's a lot of information that you're not going to get from books, that you're only going to get from the experience that the elders have went through at the time. That type of stuff that doesn't get in the book, you got to get it from the elders, man. And Dr. Greg Carr was breaking it down, and he was actually getting into the information when John Lewis was running against Julian Bond, and actually John Lewis was catching flack from the black community because he was going hard in on Julian Bond, which lady talking about, he was into, I think it was Dr. Carr was saying he was into drugs or something or other, Julian Bond, but he actually lost the race. And because he was kind of like the white populations or I guess the folks in Congress favored John Lewis or in some or other, and it based on those those dirty methods he was going against Julian Bond, he won the seat, the 5th district, and the black community was going with Julian Bond. They wasn't even riding with John Lewis, which is surprising to me. I'm like, what? This was going on back in the day? And like I said, you only hear about John Lewis, him walking through the Edmund Pettus Bridge with the other brothers and sisters, but you don't hear about the life of John Lewis, like what happened. Like, people are just more than one moment in history. It's a profound, important moment when it comes to the Black American experience. But people, men and women, especially that came out and it was rooted in the civil rights movement, they are a lot more than just one moment, and a black and white moment that we see in documentaries. So, to hear about what was happening, that was crazy. And through that, even after he got 5th district, a couple of things that he done, he boycotted Bush Jr., his presidential inauguration, because now a lot of things was happening. Remember, if you're old enough to know, when Bush at the time, George W. Bush, he was running against Clinton's boy, the Vice President Clinton. Al Gore. I was about to say, I couldn't remember. It's when he was running against Al Gore, that whole thing with the hanging Chad in Florida. John Lewis was he boycotted. He was not with the inauguration, so he sat that one out. He reluctantly voted for the war in Iraq after 9/11, and he also protested against the genocide in Darfur, Sudan. He did a sit-in demanding a vote on gun safety legislation, and also introduced a bill for the National African American Museum. But for 15 years, this Southern senator named Jesse Helms was a part of passing this bill in order to get this National African American Museum. And finally, when this dude retired, Lewis pushed forth the bill to get this building built. And he finally got bipartisan support for the museum. So after all this, what have we come away with John Lewis? Now, as I said, I respect my elders. And even if their actions I feel, as history will play it out, as it's recorded, they'll say, okay, other than John Lewis, the Edmund Pettus Bridge beating, the young John Lewis, the black and whites, when he's walking with these civil rights folks, what else did he do for Black America? And I read off these couple of things that he did do, and certain things that he did. But in the expanse of his time in his career, to me, he did what he could do. And it's important, and I see as ants in the anthill. Everyone, or honey in their honeycomb home. That everybody plays a part. And no matter how small or how big, that action that you contributed is a part of the greater tapestry of American society. Or the greater tapestry, or adding on those threads to the greater tapestry of the Black American experience. And regardless of how you feel of what he contributed, even whether it was a lot at the beginning and he kind of coasted through because of that one time in Selma, he has contributed to the experience of Black Americans. And we can never undervalue his contribution. Even if it's for that one moment, that one choice, that one decision, or those group of decisions that he made in his early 20s, we cannot undervalue that. And we cannot disregard it. Now, if you want to question his career in politics for the last 25, 30, 40, 50 years, then so be it. I mean, and a person would ask me, well, so what did he did all that time? Well, he did what he did over the years. And we don't know the politics of what went on behind closed doors when he was his 5th district and the other time. But it was what it was. And I think that baton should be passed to who are the people, the leaders of today, in whatever city, state that they reside in, who is going to take that baton and learn from the mistakes of John Lewis, or make decisions on or take on those hard cases that he hasn't taken in the last 40 or 50 years. What are you going to do different? Because I don't think it's time to denigrate, devalue, and diminish the actions of John Lewis. I don't think we should do that. I think it's kind of it lacks taste, it lacks character, and it's not something that is becoming of an individual if you expect to be the leader in the community that you back. So thank you, John Lewis, for everything that you've done. And thank you for the things that you haven't done. Because I know where I need to go in order to have progress for Black people in America. Being a Black man in this country, what I could do in my community, what I can do for my city, what I could do for my state, and what I can do for the world. Because what we do here is a blueprint for the rest of human beings around the world. And hopefully that I can make my contribution worthy and or my contribution can have substance to the greater good of humanity. So yeah, I can sit here and I can tear down John Lewis, what he done, what he didn't do. He was just a lackey, or he just rode the wave and he didn't really do nothing. And his political career shifted from the black agenda of what we could do for black people, of what we lack in this country, to something more onto another platform. Hey, that's what he did. That's what he did. And I'm not going to knock that brother. All right. I'm not going to do it. Maybe another time, maybe. And you know what? If I was going to be on TV and someone from the other side of the argument would like to argue me, sure, I would argue them. I'm like, well, he could have done this, then that, Sure, I could do that. Because nobody is above criticism. No, not any president, not any CEO, not any public figure. Nobody is above criticism. And we've known that because we've seen people do a lot of things that we like, and then all of a sudden they live out their life and we have problems with the decisions or choices they make, as they go about their business. So I think it's important that we as the new leaders say, okay, this brother did what he did at the time. He was a product of society. He wasn't as gully as we wanted him to be. And I feel the same way with even Barack Obama and President Obama. I appreciate everything that he's done. There was a lot of symbolisms, a lot of things that our kids could look up to, but I will do things differently. And I would love to sit down with President Barack Obama, and I would just like to chat it up with him and be like, bro, and I would say my opinion or how I felt that he could have done better. But I'm not going to hear and destroy and tear down and toss tomatoes and rotting cabbage at these people because of what they did. I'm not going to do it. It's not my style. But I will say, okay, bro, this is what he can do. Now, as far as the Congressional Black Caucus, which John Lewis was a part of, I disagree with the Black Caucus, because I will say the same thing. What has a Congressional Black Caucus, CDC, whatever you want to call them, has done for black folk in this country? Not much. If it was up to me, I would dissolve the caucus. I will dissolve it, because this tiger lacks any teeth. It lacks any claws. It lacks any gumption. It lacks any passion. What have they done? And I'm open to it. If anybody wants to say, no, the Congressional Black Caucus, see, they did this, they did that, fine. Bring it to me. But anything that has had constructive progress for black folk in the last 40 years or since the inception of the Congressional Black Caucus, please. Because we're still dealing with with the wealth gap. We're still dealing with police brutality. We're still dealing with systemic racism. We're still dealing with systemic racism in the medical industry, insurance, everything in all facets of this society. The wealth gap has not shrunk. It has not. Even they're talking about our wealth, our household wealth, is gonna shrink down to zero in the next 25, 30 years. So what has the Congressional Black Caucus done? Really? Nothing. To me, based on that understanding, I would disband it, because it doesn't really do anything for the black community. As far as John Lewis, I respect everything that you've done. Thank you for your contributions, but I'm going to take it in another direction. And hopefully leaders today take it in another direction. So, in closing, thank you, John Lewis. Thank you, what you have done. I appreciate the time that you spent on this planet doing what you did, especially in those critical moments in the 60s. Without that, where would we be? So I appreciate your life and what you have done for black folk from what you had. And on that note, I'm going to move on with the next artist. So what do we got? So the next artist that we have here, I'm going to open up this folder because I never truly complete what I want to do. So we're going to play Ella M with her song Take Yourself Home that she released some time ago. And right after that, we're going to listen to Tev G's, I think his name is. Tev G's Get Busy. So listen to these two great artists, and we'll be right back. All right.
Don't even know you leave me suffocating, holding on to anything I can touch, keeping my head under the water, breathing slow. I'll wait for you to leave me alone. Take yourself home. You're suffocating everything that you touch, and you don't even know I'm holding a grudge. You know that we got it badly. We cannot disguise this badly. You're suffocating everything that you touch, and you don't even know I'm holding a grudge. We don't want the same things sadly. You can force me to be happy.
Oh man,
Check this out.
we're going in with another one.
It's on.
GCOM Radio.
Yeah. Let's go there. Yeah. Fuck is you talking? I'm the next nigga in Philly. No cap, ain't no rat, I get busy. Used to pull up at Honda Accord. Gotta go get that bag, that's a Bentley. 10 toes, stay down, man, it's in me. Next up in the game, nigga, get me. Hold up, pour up Henny. Switch up, rack up Brandy. Ball up, Joy. 23, splash. Pile up with gang, we ran at them things. My niggas, they ran at your ass. Debo, wear that cash. C4, blow that bag. Throw it up, pass. Fuck it up, dash. You want the feature? You want the what? You gotta pay for that. You could go keep 'em. You could go what? Niggas, they know that I'm bad. I fuck me a leave. I fuck me a shorty, she throwing it back. I'm fresh like it's Easter. Fresh like I got an ice up the neck. Hold up, screaming you got it. You ain't a prophet, calling a bluff. Nigga, that's facts. You get the chopping, we get the plot and lining him up. Throwing them racks. This ain't no purple. We do not promote benzene with the cup. What? Look at my circle. All of my niggas 100 a buck. All of my niggas. All of my. All of my niggas. All of my. All of my niggas. All of my. All of my niggas. Yeah, never seen you feed up by your homies. I been rocking heavy by the lungs. 8 to 24, we ballin' Kobe. You the type of nigga that'll oaks. Watch they going gon' pray up that you fall. All up in their face, they got a joint. Why they rockin' heavy with the law? Coppers get the blick, you got a 40. Look at me now, I was below at the bottom. I'm building the sound, man, niggas, they know I'm a problem. It's 187, niggas like these, I'm behind them. It's 187, niggas like these, I'm behind them.
This is GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com. Come join, be a lifer. Practice dollar power and build financial independence.
Okay, that was Ella M. Take Yourself Home, and Tev G's with Get Busy. Hopefully, Tev G's from Get Busy. Dope artist, and I'm gonna follow up with some more music because they're gonna be like, you running out of joints. Now I'm gonna play some old joints, some old jams. You'll hear soon. So check out Ella M. You can go to any music platform, music streaming, whatever, digital download. Check out her record, Take Yourself Home, and definitely tune into Tev G's, TEVGEES, GEZ. Tev G's, we Get Busy. All right, so we're gonna get into the next segment, but before we do, we have to go into business of the week, and this is my personal favorite. So listen.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Bringing you the business of the week and its innovative founders. It's what you've been waiting for.
My weakness, like many others in life, is sweets. The sweets of cookies, cakes, and other lovely delights. To finish off a nice dinner with a sugary, soft morsel to top off my palate. The right fluff, feel, and taste can set us on a wonderful dreamscape as we savor the experience off our forks. Matter of fact, not just the delicious crescendo to that divine meal under a beautiful starry night, but also for birthdays, weddings, or any other special event. What place can we make sure our sweet tooth is treated right? Bee Cake NY. Bee Cake NY, located in, of course, Brooklyn, New York, started by Miriam Milford and Dabba Roach. Miriam, coming from Germany, brought her talents in the creative culinary arts of baking for her friends and family, eventually turning towards the cake business in 2008. Miss Milford's partner, coming from media, music, and marketing, decided to use her experience in operations, marketing, and more with Bee Cake NY. Lyfeblood.com would like to salute Bee Cake NY for being the center of Brooklyn for those mouth-watering morsels we all crave in those moments of weakness. Yeah, so, all right. So what we got going on for this second segment? So, it's COVID, man. COVID's real. Hopefully everybody is healthy out there. So, what is happening? So I don't know if it's because of this COVID thing. I'm pretty sure it is. But I see a lot of the black women cutting off their hair as of late. Now, I'm going to get into this conversation, and it's a conversation that I always wanted to have, but I wasn't sure how to do it. I think I was just like, oh man, do I want to have this conversation and get it on the record? Because, you know, this is a sensitive issue for the ladies. So a lot of sisters is cutting off their hair. A lot of black women making their hair natural, you know, in the public eye. So I think it's a beautiful thing, but it's nothing new. It's been going on for a while. And let me tell you, in particular, I think it's been happening more since Chris Rock came out with his documentary called Good Hair. It was released in 2009. And this documentary was, of course, like about the whole hair business, and, you know, from the hair salons to the hair products to actual shows of women hairdressers just doing their thing. And of course, getting into the creamy crack, as they said in the film, the creamy crack. Sisters is addicted to the creamy crack, you know, laying it down, getting that straight hair. And then also, as I said before, it highlighted, you know, about major beauty products made by white companies. It highlighted that, and also was talking about the stores who sell these major beauty products that's not black owned, by Korean folks too. And it got into that side of the game, and I was like, wow. So let me tell you, this movie for me, from what I saw, this movie had a definite impact in the black community. And when after that movie released and it was making its rounds within, communities, black communities across America, I saw a lot of sisters cutting off their hair. Now, that's what I saw. I saw a lot of sisters taking that lead, cutting their hair off. And it was like, I'm going natural. So to me, there was a noticeable change. And now, and it's been like that since then. But now, it seems like during this COVID thing, and I think, my logic of trying to understand it is they can't go to hairdressers. They don't want to catch COVID. So a lot of sisters putting in braids, you know what I mean? I forgot the name what they call it. It's the hair protection or something like they call it. Sisters call it. And hold on a second. Protective hair piece or whatever with the wigs and the braids. So a lot of sisters can't go to the hairdresser. So I think they're just making a decision like, you know what, screw it, just cut it off. And yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing. And I'm more concentrating on the people that you wouldn't expect it would come from. So a couple of people that I'm connected to on social media that I follow, and this is not just hair, they going straight bald. So Tanisha Laverne Grant, she's a news correspondent. She goes on a lot of red carpets. She's straight rocking a baldy along with Dana Blair, straight rocking a baldy, which is, I think that's a beautiful thing. Sanaa Lathan, all right, did a short one a little bit ago. I think it's grown back. I haven't seen her recently, but she cut off the joints, was rocking her little do there. And of course, Lupita Nyong'o and Denai Guerrero, they rock the hair naturally. They've always rocked the hair naturally. So that's like a given. So that's what's up, I think. But Tamar Braxton cut off her hair. She was rocking a baldy, and I'm like, what? What's going on here? I think that has a little bit to do with she may have a condition, because I just have a feeling, and look, it just looks like she has it. Like she probably was losing her hair for a little bit, and she was just tired of fronting with the wigs and just was like, screw it, I'm just gonna chop off the whole thing. It looks like it. I could be wrong, but I still love what Tamar did anyway. Tiffany Haddish just recently did the big chop. She cut off a joint, and I'm like, yo, that's what's up. The only thing I didn't know what she was doing, what she was working with it. I didn't know she was balding it. I thought she was just gonna rock it like a little short joint, a little short fro, and it looked kind of a little janky. I was like, nah, and I kind of posted on social media. I was like, nah, if you gonna get a short joint, do it right. Get the cuts, get the fade, get the line up, make it fly, and I showed some examples on my social media, but she went straight bald. I was like, oh, okay, that's what's up. And Cardi B, she was looking regal, looking like Shaka Khan. She was doing her thing there. So I appreciate Cardi B, rocking it out on IG. So yeah, man. So a lot of sisters, a lot of black women is cutting off their hair and being more natural. And my stance, as far as black women, it always should be like that. It's been like that for thousands of years. Why we change it? For obvious reasons, for the transatlantic slave trade and trying to conform to European standards of beauty and trying to fit into society. And they permed their hair, and back in the day they used hot combs. I remember even the hot combs back in the 80s when my sister was getting her hair straightened. So I understand the struggle, the burnt neck. I was witness to many of times of using the hair comb. I remember that when I was a youngin'. When my sister had to go through. And then, the Jerry curl, that was the 80s, boy. What? Having the Jerry curl juice? Yeah, man. Having the soul glow. I remember that. Yes, I do. And I never agree with it. At any point in time, I was never with that. Yeah, even when I was young, I was like, I look crazy. Because that's not our hair, you know what I mean? And it comes down to, being socialized into an inferiority complex that makes you feel lesser than, and again, having to conform. So a lot of women did it. Now the brothers did it, of course. When you see Spike Lee's Malcolm X, it was called a conch back in the day, back in those days. And then, of course, what happened was it eventually got cut off. because if you understand how Malcolm X was talking, you understand why it looked stupid. So it worked for men, but then of course it never spilled over into women, because women look at hair differently. It's a part of their womanhood. It's a part of what makes them beautiful, and it's very deep. There are layers to this psychological conditioning when it comes to black women and straightening their hair. And it goes back to Madam C.J. Walker, and they always praise her, the self-made millionaire, first female millionaire that made money off of women cosmetics and hair products. She never invented the hot comb, but she used a hot comb as a part of when she started her own hair care line. And everybody praises Madam C.J. Walker, and I'm, silently, I'm like, all right, but I always felt, I don't know what's going on with my throat. I always felt like we should never capitalize off our own pain, our insecurities, and our socialized inferiority complex living in the United States under the weight of racism. And black folk have a lot of unpacking to do. We have a lot of we have a lot of things to deal with our own mental state. And we are coming to an understanding of ourselves the more information we learn about our history, pre-transatlantic slave trade, and where we come from. And of course, a lot of it has to do with the DNA testing. There, of course, at one point we took it as a curse word when we called each other black, and it was like, no, I ain't black, I'm this, and da. And we still play around with these words now, but in general, we understand the community, the black community in America, is starting to understand our root back to the continent, and taking pride in that. And it's come out in our music back in the 60s and 70s, the Black Power movement, and to up with hip hop and all that now. But we still hold on to it. And I never really agreed. Now, of course, African women through the 1,000 years, even the ancient African women, they had wigs, of course, but wigs, they used wigs that through the lens of their own culture. Before it was touched by when Europeans first came to Africa. When we had our own thing, of course, wigs were seen differently. It wasn't like a perm. It was wigs in terms of braids, but it never was wigs that you had to look like, one of these models, and it was long, luscious locks flowing through of course, a fan is on, blowing the hair in the wind, trying to look all nice and sexy. No, it was different thousands of years ago. There were many different styles to represent the culture and the beauty. And now it just looks weird. You know what I mean? Now it just looks, women, still looks weird to me. And one of them is Boydie, from this South African woman. She's a prime example. She's a model. She's a rapper recently. I think it's dope. And a lot of African women from the continent, they do the same thing. And it looks extra weird when I see women from the continent do it. And of course, that's where, the breakdown of the black family happened in Africa, of course. The colonization of the continent, it started there and it worked its way over here. So a lot of the same issues that we have mentally, the questions that we have about our own beauty comes into question over there. You know what I mean? So, especially with Michaela. What was her name? She has a show on HBO Max called I May Destroy You. Let me see, I'm gonna get this right. May Destroy You. McKay, there she goes. And I always forget her name, Michaela Coel. So, she's from the continent. I don't know where she's from. I don't know if she's Kenya or Zimbabwean, but when she wears wigs that are straight, it looks weird. It looks super weird to me. Her face, it doesn't fit her face. It's like, I don't know how to say it without being disrespectful, but it's almost like, putting a wig on a doll. Like, it doesn't, putting a human wig on a doll, or a fish doll or something like that, or, it just doesn't look right. I've actually, and to me, her facial structure looks so much like the the ancient Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten. And I actually made a side-by-side photo and I posted it up. And actually, Michael Eric Dyson put it on his profile because she looks so similar to Pharaoh Akhenaten, from the cheekbones to the lips to the shape of the eyes to everything. I'm like, yo, you see how our genetics is passed through even through thousands of years. And I'm like, this is the royalty. This is what I'm talking about. You know, even when she takes off the wig and she rocks a baldy, I'm like, yo, that looks natural. That looks the way it should be. And even when I don't know, even when she had her own show, I think it was called Bubblegum or something in the UK, and she was wearing the wig, it looked so weird to me. Like, it looks stupid. But you know, I know she's playing a role. I don't know what she does in her regular life, you know, but I'm like, I just hope that at one point black women, and I'm talking about, and a lot of times black women may use it. Well, we could have diversity in our hair. We could do anything. We could wear straight. We could wear curly. We could wear our natural hair and a fro and all la. And they're using the perming of their hair straight as an example that, yeah, we could just do anything because that's just the diversity of black women and we can express ourselves in many ways. And I'm just like, nah, man, you just layering it on your own socialized conditioning. You just using excuses for your own inferiority complex. That still goes on today. You're making excuses for that behavior. Nah. So it's just as much as we don't excuse it for the brothers when Malcolm X is talking back in the day, it should be no excuse for the way women. Now, if it's a constant thing for me. My last point before we get out of here, so I can keep on time. Like, what if one time there was a meteor to split the planet, and black people was one side, and everybody else on the other? I think if it organically, black culture would eventually eliminate straight hair out of our understanding of beauty for ourselves. But we're constantly barraged and hit and repetitively told that what looks beautiful is to have this hair. And I think the trajectory of what black culture is in this country is eventually leading towards a piecing together of what our identity was before the transatlantic slave trade. And it's happening at one small piece at a time. But because we're constantly within a culture that tries to denigrate and undermine our values, our body and our minds and our spirit, we're constantly moving back into that old behavior. And we're tethered to that. So we're not really truly free in mind if we do these sort of things. Because to me, all these things, wearing wigs, even in the brothers, even in on the continent, as far as understanding that colonialism started there. When you go into the halls of their own political system and they're talking to each other in their chambers, they wear the black robes and these gray European style wigs on their heads, and it looks ridiculous. Shout out to all my brothers on the continent. It looks ridiculous. And that's the old colonialism, the European influence, when they were on the continent when the slave trade started. And they're still holding on to these old ways. And I'm like, it's time to kind of shuffle them off. It's time to move beyond that. And I'm saying that in terms of, as a lifer, as far as the African American community on Lyfeblood.com, because that's a part of being a lifer, seeking truth, seeking yourself. As you're seeking your passion, how are we going to develop our own social structure within Lyfeblood.com? Because like I said, Lyfeblood is open to everybody. I don't care if you're Russian, you're Irish, or you're Japanese, you're Chinese, you're South American, you're from you're from Panama, you're from Venezuela or Costa Rica, whatever. This is a new social structure that we're living in, just not African American people, just not African people throughout the diaspora, but humans on this planet. And in order for us to be lifers, we have to we have to revisit a lot of the things that we have learned in our adult years, even our young adult years, and we have to come to terms with what we have been socialized in. And as far as the African American community, the African diaspora on Lyfeblood.com, this is what I'm talking about. So, that is my take on it. I can't wait at some point that we will no longer use these excuses to continue this inferiority complex that we have been socialized in. And we can throw those wigs off. Like, I remember I saw a black model that was on the runway and she threw off her wig. I can't wait for that. I can't wait for the moment where every single black woman in this country says, you know what, that was the old way. We won't do that anymore. That's the same way where it was in society where every man wore a derby, a hat, and that was just a part of that fashion of the time, where they moved past that. We moved past that and there's a whole new style and look and feel and thought process. That's part of the growth. So I can't wait for black women to come to that understanding where it becomes natural and it becomes right just to be yourself. Yeah, okay, so we're going to get out of here. So we're going to get into another couple songs. Shout out to the next artists that are coming up, QT Jazz, She Can Ask Me, and Ricardo. We're going to replay Ricardo again with his song, Sorry. It's a beautiful song, man. Listen to these two great artists, man. I can't wait to hear more and more and more from these two. So QT Jazz, She Can Ask Me, and right behind is Ricardo Williams with Sorry. So we'll be right back. All right.
On the #1 podcast platform in the world, GCOM Radio on iHeartRadio.
See this right here, what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, hear what you wanna hear. When I make it crystal clear, she can talk to you. You, nah, she can talk to you. Next time I sit around in your messages, pics of all of those dresses. Ask him which one she looks good in. Tell her girl to ask me.
Yo, check it out, yo.
Here's a bonus. You heard it before.
Yeah.
Here we go again. Serving that heat.
Now turn it up.
GCOM Radio.
I don't have no excuses. Gave me all your trust, I abused it. You were the best thing in my world, and I lost it. I don't want any other girl, and now it's too late. All up in my feelings, all up in my head. Wish I could say I'm sorry, regret the things I did. I'm staring at this bottle, wish I could turn back time. Reminisce, take it back to the days when you were mine. Sorry I broke your heart, sorry I made you cry. Oh, I wasn't ready for love, and I know deep down, so I'm sorry for the loss. Sorry I called her phone, sorry I did you wrong. Now I'm crying on my knees, say forgive me, say forgive me. Baby I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Baby I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Baby I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Baby, I'm sorry. So, won't you pick up your phone? See, now I know that with you is where I belong. Girl, I need you right here with me. Please don't say it's too late. Girl, I'm sorry. I don't really wanna be all up in my feelings, all up in my head. Wish I could say I'm sorry, regret the things I did. I'm staring at this bottle, wish I could turn back time. Reminisce, take it back to the days when you were mine. Sorry I broke your heart, sorry I made you cry. I'm sorry, I wasn't ready for love, and I know deep down, so I'm sorry for the loss. Sorry I called her phone, sorry I did you wrong. Now I'm crying on my knees, say forgive me. Baby I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Baby I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Baby I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Baby I'm sorry. Baby I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Baby I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Baby I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Baby I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, man, that was QT Jazz with She Can Ask Me and Ricardo Williams with Sorry. Yeah, man, do me a favor, go right to iTunes and find QT Jazz, She Can Ask Me, and go to Ricardo Williams, digital downloading. I say music streaming because this is what we have, and I like to support artists. So if they're doing music streaming for right now, that's fine. So go to QT Jazz, She Can Ask Me, Ricardo Williams, sorry, but I would rather you go to iTunes and digitally download. And we'll already do Music Lyfe. We'll do Music Lyfe and get everybody on board. And I see, look, I'm not gonna say my competitor is copying me. Maybe they were on something before, but I see my competitors doing the same thing I'm doing with the Music Lyfe. And I'm not going to mention them because I'm in direct competition with them. And when it comes time, we're going to be neck and neck. I'm not going to say. Yo, Talib, you could come over here anytime, bro. That's all I'm going to say. Talib, you could come over here anytime and we could get it rocking and rolling. All right, so what we got going on? Before we continue into the last segment, we are going to get into news you need to know. And this is news that you need to know. All right, we'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen,
around the world and right in your neighborhood, it's the news you need to know.
On July 23rd, China has launched its own Mars rover named Tianwen-1. It's actually a combination of an orbiter and a land rover. Once it reaches Mars in February 2021, its plan is to orbit Mars while releasing the rover towards its target area. The rover will be equipped with 6 different instruments, such as the multispectral camera, terrain camera, Mars rover subsurface exploration radar, Mars surface composition detector, a Mars magnetic field detector, and the Mars meteorology monitor. The orbiter will relay information gathered from the rover back to Earth, not just bouncing communication back to us, but the orbiter has its own instrumentation to monitor and record data gathered from the Mars atmosphere. Side note, United Arab Emirates has also launched its own orbiter on July 19th to study the Mars atmosphere as well. It piggybacked on a Japanese H-2A rocket, and we're off to the races. Tenet movie delayed and movie theaters suffering. Christopher Nolan's Tenet movie has been delayed due to the spike of coronavirus cases in several states. At one point, the plan was to release the movie in July, but the studio figured it ethically unwise while the country is suffering from this pandemic. There's a possibility to open in select cities, but it's still under review by executives. Unfortunately, a VOD release is far from being considered as well. International dates are being thought of prior to US openings. Along with the Tenet movie executives are having nervous chatter on other major blockbuster releases. AMC Theaters has taken a serious blow because of it. Recently, it has reached a deal to lower its pre-existing debt and secured an additional $300 million in new borrowing. How long will movie theaters realize death is at its door and a new movie model is needed for a new movie experience? And that is the news you need to know. All right, let's get it rocking and rolling, man. Let's get it rocking and getting it rolling. I'm going to reset this and let's go. We got a couple minutes to get going. So the last segment that I'm going to talk about, of course, everything with COVID. Who can keep our minds off of COVID? It could be anything else, but we can't because it's all around us. So we're going to talk about everything and then some involving this COVID situation. All right. So I tell you, man, I went to Six Flags and I said this before and I'll say it again. No one was there. I went for the ride and no one was on these rides. Now, I don't know what Six Flags looks like now. I have no idea. Probably people started to come out of their shells and they want to go on the water rides and they want to go on the roller coasters over in the Six Flags. But when I went a couple of weeks ago, no one was on these rides. No. Now, this is a funny thing. So my daughter has been watching. She watches this YouTube family. I forgot their names. It's 2 daughters and their mother. The 2 daughters has dreads, and the mother sometimes has faux locks. But you know that's their whole show. And they recently. I was watching the television screen and I saw the mother had like a mask on. So obviously it's recent during this whole COVID thing. And I asked my daughter, she was like, yeah, they're at Universal Studios. I'm like, Universal Studios? So I stopped what I was doing and I started watching and they were in some place at Universal Studios. And let me tell you, guess what? It was empty. No one was there. No one was there. It was like they were on a roller coaster and there was one old man in the front. They were like 4 cars back. And I'm like, yo, no one was there. I'm like, God damn. Yo, that's crazy. The daughters were having fun, of course, because there was no line. They went right to the rides. I'm like, damn. So businesses, they're trying to stay open or they're trying to make some kind of money. I understand this. I understand. We live in a capitalist system. Things has got to keep rolling. People, life's got to get paid. The debt's got to get paid. Profits got to get made, right? But there was no one there because the confidence is not there. People are not stupid. They know what the politicians are doing. The politicians say, no, go to work, go to work, go to work. And people are more like, play yourself. You can say whatever you want, but my ass ain't going nowhere. Yo, there was nobody. I think the family went to the Harry Potter world, or whatever it was, the world of Harry Potter over the universe. No one was there. And that was funny. I saw someone went to Universal Studios at the same world, the Harry Potter world, and it was packed. There was no one there. No. Yo, COVID is changing so. Yo, we said it, and it was an article. It was stated that COVID is going to have such a profound effect on our society. So many things are going to change. So many things are going to go by the wayside. And here it is happening. It is happening. Certain businesses that should have never continued to go on are having problems and going bankrupt. And so they should. If you're having problems, if they say for people in their homes that they have to balance their books, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You have to figure out how you're working your finances, get rid of the excess spending, and save your money. That goes for the same thing for these businesses as well. These major corporations. Yeah, and I swear to God, if you're a major corporation, a company, and whatever that you're doing, product or service, and 2 months into COVID, you are filing for bankruptcy, that means you're not as rich as you say you were, and you're cooking the books, okay? You're not as rich. You had less in the coffers, or you've been lying all this time, and you've been cooking the books. I say it like that. How is it that you are a company that's been in operation for decades, for years, and COVID hits, and the second month, you are crying that you can't run your business? What is going on? That means you shouldn't be in operation anymore. That goes for every company. Movie business theaters are taking a hit. Now, how will that change? How's the movie theater experience? I saw one. It's funny. It's crazy. I saved the picture, and I'm gonna put it on IG. I totally forgot about the picture. I was on Twitter, and there's this company, this movie theater company, is marketing a new look, and it looks something out of Star Wars. I think it was 4, 5, 6. You know, the Star Wars where they're talking about the Emperor taking over and emergency powers, blah 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 blah, and everybody's sitting in these circular pods. All right, and those were the officials. It was the exact same thing with this company in the movie theater. They look like those circular pods, about 3 or 4 chairs. Of course, it's only people that you know, and it's stacked, and it goes back and facing the theater, the screen. Yo, unbelievable. Is this the new direction of movie theaters? It's possible, but we don't know. We don't know. VOD is taking center stage. I don't even know how that's going as far as movies. No, I don't see any movies. Of course, movie studios can't, they can't make any movies because of COVID. So there hasn't been any movies on VOD. But as soon as I saw Jessica Chastain. She was taking the COVID test because she's about to start her movie schedule. So now they're ramping up, they're getting things. They got to start making movies now. They got to go. But how is that going to happen? Who's going to work with AMC? Who knows? Are we going to go straight VOD? I'm happy with straight VOD. I'll pay $20. Sure, why not? I don't want to go. Even pre-COVID, I was tired of movie theaters. So we'll see how that goes. Companies, virtual offices. That's crazy, right? So some offices are saying, you know what, whatever. Stay at home. Do your thing. You can be in the office, but you can also be at home. That's taking a change. Schools, how's schools gonna go? Some of them is gonna be virtual for grade schools, that is. How are you gonna work that out with kids? So that's gonna kind of be an interesting method of how they have to, what they're gonna have to implement. I heard some parents is not even sending their kids to school. So that's gonna be interesting. How's that gonna be? I don't know. That's gonna be crazy, but that in itself, I don't know how that's gonna. But for what do you call it? For colleges, is virtual learning. As I said with Harvard, they're maintaining the tuition of $50,000, but they're gonna keep virtual learning going. They got hip to the game. It's like, wait a second, we'll still charge that same amount, and we can have as much students in this particular class. So they got hip to the game. So now, you don't have to go to Harvard. What about community colleges? Are they going to have virtual learning? That's going to happen. Is that going to be a permanent option for students coming in? I see it happening. What about our elections? How that's going to play? I'm trying to get some guy on the horn as far as using blockchain technology for voting. We still don't know what we're going to do as far as this presidential election. And we're still dealing with the effery that's happening with voter suppression. I think voting should go more in line. We have to figure it out, especially in this age of COVID. We have to figure it out. Nobody's talking about this. We're still dealing with the old methods of voting, the voting process. It's crazy. That's something I know I'm having this conversation. We got to have this conversation in halls of Congress. Now, what about new businesses? Experts are saying online businesses are doing extremely well. Amazon is doing extremely well. Any business that's strictly online, they're having an uptick in sales. Of course, because people are not going outside. A matter of fact, they're saying as far as new businesses, they should focus online. Don't worry about brick and mortar. The old guard is pushing back as far as politics is concerned. They're pushing back, wanting to keep things the way they were, and it's not. COVID has exposed so much in our society, the good and the bad. The bad that has been the modus operandi for so long for the status quo, and also the good from the new innovations that are coming out because of COVID. And the things that we've been dragging our feet on now, it's taking center stage, is at the forefront. Or maybe we should have been doing this. Maybe the genie is out the bottle. Pandora's box is blown wide open. Our society is taking another turn. Protests is going on. People are still not slowing down with the protests, even though major media is not showing any of that. In Portland, Oregon, the whole thing we're dealing with Trump sending in federal agents to protect federal property, or whatever the case. We've seen some protests. We've seen some protesters taking hit with not just rubber bullets. There was some name they call impact bullets from federal agents, bleeding from the head. And it's not discouraging the protests. It's only bringing more people to the protests. The exact opposite is happening. So whatever they had in mind as far as trying to tamper or squash out the protests that are happening in Portland, Oregon, is not happening, man. They continue in Black Lives Matter. They're continuing with racial justice. They're continuing with bringing some sort of equity in this country. And people are tired. People are tired of talking about it. They want change. Change is here. People want justice. People don't want the same talk over and over and over again. People are tired of lip service. They're hip to the political system. They're hip to what Democrats are doing. They're hip to what the Republicans are doing. They know they are talking and shaking hands behind closed doors, but when they get in front of cameras, they keep talking to each other as if they're sworn enemies, and they're not. People are getting hip to both sides of major media networks. They keep on throwing in, well, the Republicans. All you got to do is take those same words, X amount, put them Democrats into that same space, and all of a sudden you have conservative channels saying, well, the Democrats. It's all the same speech. People are getting it. I'm not making this up. I'm not putting this thought in people's minds. People are getting hip to the game. They see it. They see the script being read. There's a particular video that's online right now where I have to bring it up again, where you have local news stations. It started out as 1, then 2, then 4, then 5, and you have a tile effect of 20, 25 different newscasters saying the same thing, reading from the same script. People are getting hip to this. They know this. That's why it's called programming, TV programming. Right? Change is coming. I'm not making this up. I'm not wearing a tinfoil hat. Change is coming. People are tired. We are living in a global society. People are tired of corporations continuously getting bailed out while they fit the bill in their taxes. People are tired of it. The youth are thinking of ways to improve our livelihood in family, in work, in healthcare. They and others are starting businesses right now that are going to be the future in the next 5, 10, 20 years. They don't want to do the same thing over again. The Great Reset is upon us. And I said in the commercial, in my commercial that I put out, the Great Reset is upon us. And in that, I'm telling you where to go as far as Lyfeblood.com. We have to prepare. There was an article that I put out where they are improving on artificial intelligence. It is coming. It is here. It is coming and here at the same time. They have improved artificial intelligence by using another method. I think it's the light method instead of electricity on transferring information. I'm a little muddled on the article, but they have improved the machine in artificial intelligence. The machines are getting faster. They're figuring it out. We are coming into another age of our society. As long as we don't kill ourselves or blow each other up with nukes, we are entering into a new age. And the old guard, they're fighting it. They want it the way it was before in the last 50, 60 years. And the digital revolution is changing that. And the ironic thing is, their own greed is pushing society forward, because there are new innovations that come and they want to get ahead of it. So they buy it out and they put it on the market, and it's a great useful tool as long as it makes money. But that very innovation is what it's slowly pushing them out of relevance. So they're in a little quandary. How do we put this innovation on the market but not make ourselves irrelevant at the same time you can? It's almost destiny where we're headed. It's written in the scrolls, man. And you can't stop it. Just like you couldn't stop the Industrial Revolution of the time and what brought us here. Now we're entering into the next phase, and the old guard, they're fighting it because they know the old ways are dying. Okay, I'm going to get out of here, folks. Thank you for listening to me. So keep in mind, the New York Tech Day is still there. New York Tech Day is still coming October 2020. I'm gearing up to get ready for that. I don't think there's going to be any postponement of that. I think that date is going to be kept. I'm getting to other things, trying to make the best out of 2020 as before. I'm not going to say anything about it, but I will when I have some progress on it. And as soon as I find out, I will let you guys know. Sign up for Lyfeblood.com. If you have a passion, this is what it is. We're turning the corner of our society. This is about a global society. And it starts with one individual at a time, one decision at a time. Start your passion, ask for $1 from your next member, build it. Let's make this new society as all we want. Make this society the way we want it. In whatever. That's why it's not about music. It's not about art. It's about different disciplines, different fields. Microbiology, physics, if you're a physicist, if you are a marine biologist, environmental scientist, whatever discipline you're in, we're trying to build that together. And if you're an inventor and you don't want to bring it to a corporation because you're afraid that they're going to buy you out and take your idea, this is where we start this invention. Get your community to fund you and get that money up where now you can mass produce it and get it out to the masses. It starts here, Lyfeblood.com. This is a new society, a new way of living. This is not Facebook. I tell you, people, this is not Facebook. This is not IG. This is not any other of the social media platforms. We're going to take this. You have no idea where this can go. The application of Lyfeblood.com. But it's up to you to join in this efforts so we can make the world that we wanted to make it. Okay. Thank you for listening again. Thank you for all those artists that submitted their music. And we'll see you next week. And big ups to the second year of GCOM Radio. And I'm looking forward to the 100th episode. And let's see if we can, let's say if I keep this rhythm, We should hit the 100th episode in January, sometime January 2021. So I got enough time to think up of something to do for that 100th show. All right. So again, we're going to get out of here. Appreciate it. See you guys next week. All right. We out.
Yo, check it.
You just listened to GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com for the global community.
We worldwide, baby.
See you in the next go round. From right here to your town, we out.